I thought I'd do a comparison video this afternoon for the Mountain Laurel Designs Trailstar and the Mountain Laurel Designs Duomid. I did a pitching video on the Trailstar which you've probably seen, so I'll just pitch that later on. Right, the first thing that you need to do is to pitch out the four corners. Now you want to try and make sure that each corner is 45 degrees, so that everything is, even though this is a rectangular shaped, you want it to be, you know, rectangular, not at funny angles. So that's your first consideration, is to make sure that it is laid out as square as possible. What I've done here is I've taken two alloy pacer poles, taken the handles off, so both handles are removed, and I then have this piece here, which is the same diameter as the handle, and if you want a piece like this, then contact pacer poles, send them an email or something, or give them a ring, speak to Heather, and they may have a piece lying around, or they may be able to sort you out. Otherwise there are other places that you can get them from. What I've done is I've taken it just past the stop, so that the thickest pieces are the longest pieces. This piece here is closed right up, and this piece here is, I don't know what that is, about 4 inches or something like that. I've just check it, but that's about 4 inches. You then obviously have to undo the zip and undo the poppers to get access. Make sure you put a bung on the end. I put a bung on both ends. That is important, because obviously you don't want your point going through the top of the shelter. You've opened the zip. And then do up those poppers first. Make sure your cord's out, and do up that popper and that buckle. And these poppers here and the popper down there with the buckle takes the pressure off the zip. You could of course make the pole a little bit shorter, and then that would get the whole thing closer to the ground. I made the cords a little bit shorter on this than I did on the Trailstar, I think. These cords are probably knocking on the door of 2 feet, but probably not quite 2 feet. these cords are probably more like 18 inches or something like that. And if you peg this one out here, then try and cut this cord, and I've put a taut line hitch in here so I can adjust this cord here. Then this cord here will use the same peg as this cord here. And you don't want this too tight. This is just a support. And again, if the weather was, really bad, then all you would do is just make your centre pole shorter, and then this will pitch, a lot lower to the ground. And you could argue you may actually want these to be nearer 2 feet so that you're pitching these a little bit further away. So I probably would be tempted to suggest at least 2 feet for these. Get it pegged over here somewhere, and then the angle of this cord here will be, a little bit better than this sort of almost straight down angle. So that would probably be better. And then when you get in, you open the zip first, and then undo the poppers. Obviously when you're pitching it, make sure the door is done up. Because it certainly wouldn't be the first time that I've pitched it without doing the door up, and then of course you can't do it up because you've pitched it the wrong way. So that would be one door open. Of course you can open this door as well. With both doors open. When you order yours, you'll probably have the doors the other way round, and that this door here is the one that will peg to the ground. If you look at all the other photographs and any other videos, anything like that, this is the one that we've pegged to the ground, and this is the door that will open first. But because I'm cack-handed, left-handed, right-handed, a bit strange, I asked Ron to turn this one into the primary door. So, if you do want the doors reversed, then you certainly can. And I see Bess has made herself at home there. Right, so that's the Silnylon Trailstar pitched right next to the Cuben Duomid. And I've tried to pitch the rears of each one, at about the same spot. Yeah, don't worry about it being slack here. That's primarily because I've just opened the doors. Once the doors are done up, then everything becomes tighter again. You've obviously seen the Trailstar, so I'm not going to concentrate too much on the Trailstar. That's really here just to give some sort of perspective. The Trailstar, of course, is a little bit lower, Let's look at the rear end, the back side of them both. Obviously, compare the rear of the Trailstar, which is pretty low and stealthy, and of course very wind resistant. And then the back of the Duomid, which of course is one large rectangular and taller area. So that just gives a little bit of perspective, you know, with the Bivy in there. So you've got quite a bit of room at the head or tail end, depending on where you pitch it, as Bess is ably demonstrating. And again, you can just about tell or see that the Trailstar is pitched just back a little bit, and yet extends further forward. So in here, if you were sleeping two, then of course you'd have one person at the back, and then you could have another person in front, although the Duomid, I think, generally is used as a one-person shelter but with plenty of, you know, spare room. To give a bit more of an indication of interior space in the Trailstar. Remember, with the Duomid, we had this lengthwise at the back. Now here, this is again pitched this way, which is how I would tend to sleep. You've got a whole load of area over there, plus obviously a whole load of area where I am. Plus there's space at the foot end as well. So to me, there is more floor area, unquestionably, inside the Trailstar, but obviously you are a lot more restricted headroom as soon as you come away from the central pole, because obviously I'm just this distance away from the center pole, and I'm already, you know, quite close to the sides. But the other thing I wanted to, I think it's worth just showing, is that's the Bivy pitched lengthwise, bearing in mind this is the large Bivy, and obviously we could quite easily pitch another one this side, and you would still have room over there and room at the foot. But this is the other thing that's worth bearing in mind. We could, and this might give a better indication of floor area, you could pitch this at the back like that, and that's pitched at the back, and you've still got a whole ton of room behind, and then we could pitch it here. You are a little bit closer to these sides, but if it was pitched lower to the ground, that wouldn't be quite so bad. But theoretically, you could also pitch lengthwise or widthwise as well. Or not pitch, but, you know, put your mat down this way. So in this, your mat can go this way, both sides of the pole, or, you know, front and back, both sides of the pole. My preference is definitely this way, but, you know, there are plenty of plenty of options for you under here. But as I say, you know, height wise, then of course, you know, height does disappear very quickly once you get to the corners. And of course compare, come on Beth, come here, come on. That's it, good girl, settle down. And of course then compare that in here, and that, as I say, has taken up flat, you know, without pulling anything up, quite a lot of the space. Obviously you've got a tiny bit of space behind you, and then there's more space at the head. So you've got some space here, and then of course this space here. But your space in here, if I just move that, you know, is more usable. You know, you can get to the back here because of the steeper sides. So I know what people mean when they say usable space, because you can, you know, you can get to the back. I just feel that there is less space in here, floor area space. Pros and cons to both there. Right, I just thought I'd shut everything up and come inside. So this gives you a rough idea of space in here. Again, obviously the mat, sorry not the mat, but the bed can go that side, or you could put it this side just as easily, and you've got a lot more headroom. I can only hope that, because I can't see what you're looking at, to be honest. So in the middle, obviously you've got a lot more headroom, but you can touch both sides all the way down. And then to get out from the inside, obviously undo the zip, then undo the poppers, and have a welcome from Beth. And obviously when I'm in the Trailstar I can touch the sides here, and remembering in the Duomid I could touch the sides all the way to the ground. Thank you, Beth. Here I can only touch the sides so far. So to my mind there is no question that the Trailstar is bigger for floor area, but obviously you've got more height in the Duomid. Frankly, I don't think you can really compare them anyway. One other thought that I had is we talk about the square feet of shelter. Well, I came up with a novel idea just to show you something. So I'm going to start at this corner, and let's see how many feet around it is, or how many of my steps. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, when I did it the first time it was 12, that time it was about 12 and a half. Call it 12. It's not exactly scientific, obviously. Right, let's do the same thing with the Trailstar. So we'll start at the back. Start at the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, over the thingy 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. In fact, when I did it the first time, it was 17. So that's about 12 and a bit. The Duomid is about 12 and a bit steps to go around, and this Trailstar is about 16 and a bit steps to go around, taking into account the front pole. And it's not that easy even. I don't know whether these videos are showing you, you know, a difference in the size, but obviously down here we've got the back of the Trailstar, which extends beyond the rear of the Duomid, and I'm standing in line with the apex of this Trailstar, and that's almost in line pretty much with the front of the Duomid. I think, in all honesty, the Duomid does extend, you know, a little bit beyond. I don't think that's a completely accurate. And then obviously this is the front of the Trailstar here, extends quite a long way in front of the Duomid. So we have to take into consideration perspective and that sort of thing. So if I stand here, again you can see the back of the Trailstar just about there, and then you can see that the Trailstar extends forward quite a bit. Right, I've kept the Duomid exactly where it was, and I've just shifted the Trailstar. I've pitched the Trailstar a little bit lower. So hopefully this will give you a little bit more of a indication between them as well, maybe. I've packed them both down, and they both go into the same sized stuff sack there. Of course, I just remember, just thought of afterwards, of course, the other difference between them, of course, is the Trailstar is a genuine tarp. That is a tarp, and of course you have no door, obviously. And the Duomid, you know, of course, you know, you have a door, so it depends whether you want to be closed in or not. So that's the other consideration as well between them. And of course your poles look different. Of course, you need to join two poles together or have a pole long enough for the Duomid, and of course you need two poles separately for the Trailstar. So that's both of them pitched, you know, right next to each other as close as I can get them. I'm not going to get them much closer than that, so I hope that's of help and benefit to people. If you've got any questions or anything, you know, feel free to ask. But they are different shelters. I think that's the main thing. I don't really think you can compare them. I think they do different things, different jobs in different situations. So good luck in your choice. Thanks, catch you again soon. Bye.